what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Listen Up podcast, home for Room for Up. I'm JT, that is,
Trapper Barnes.
and we hope you guys are doing great. Before we get started, wanted to remind you, helps us out a ton. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast, click the notifications bell, share, leave comments, do all the things that one lets us know that you're out there listening, and two, it's great to have the interaction.
You want to TikTok it up? You can do that too.
For sure. Well, usually this is the point in the podcast where we give you an upism. And we've covered so many over the previous episodes. We're going to hold off on the upism for this week. And it'll make sense here in just a little bit. I wanted to start off with something that had a huge impact on me, and this was a text that my good buddy Trapper sent myself and some other men in an accountability group that we have. It hit me initially, and then it just kept hitting and hitting and hitting. And so before we get into any discussion, I wanted to bring you guys into it, and I just wanted to read what Trapper had sent to the group. It's not too long, but I'm just going to read it, and we'll discuss. I asked God, "Why are you always taking me through troubled waters?" And he replied, "Because your enemies can't swim." I asked God, why do I always feel like I'm failing and struggling? And he answered, "Because your growth and accomplishment come from facing challenges and overcoming difficulties. Every failure is a stepping stone to success." I asked God again, why is life sometimes filled with pain and helplessness? And he answered, "Because in your weakest moments, I am by your side, and I use your pain to shape your character and helplessness to showcase my power." And I asked, why do I have to experience disappointment and setbacks? And he said, "Because in disappointment, you learn to trust, and you learn to trust me, and you learn to persevere. And I am with you every step of the way, guiding you towards victory." And finally, I asked, why do I always feel confused and lost? And he said, "Because you overlook my plan for your life. And when you focus on me, I will smooth your path and I will provide clear direction. Trust me, everything is in my control." Wow. One, I gotta, I gotta know more. Like, where did you hear this information? What led you to want to share? It moved you because you only share things that move you, and it certainly moved the group. So, what can you tell us about this message, where you got it, all the things?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about this previously. I love to get up in the mornings and walk, and it gives me an opportunity to clear my head, focus on what's in front of me that day, clear my head from the day before, like just the challenges and things. And so, one of my favorite guys to listen to in a podcast is Ed Mylett, and it was talking about like reshaping your life, and he brought this up, and this was someone, he goes, "I can't take credit for it. I'm not going to take credit for it, but it was someone that he had heard, and he was like, wow, holy cow." Well, it slapped me right between the eyes. Like, I'm like,
Yeah, it was and I don't mean to interrupt, but there was
yeah.
there was something that as I kind of dove down into like the meaning and like what it was saying, was one of the, for lack of a better term, commentaries or descriptions that I read, was it talking about all the challenges that we experience in life, and it was like, stop viewing it as punishment and start viewing it as preparation.
Yeah.
It's not punishment. All the things that we go through, it's not punishment. It's preparation. I'm preparing you for the next thing, for the bigger thing.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And, there's been, I mean, we talk very often. We hang out quite often in the old shred shed and all. And so, you've been around us. And there's been a lot of things that have been going on this year. Uh, there's been people we've removed. There's been people that we've added. There's been things that we had to remove, from our life. And uh, when in the very beginning, when he said, "Because your enemies can't swim," I was like, "Bro,
Yeah,
you reading it like just got me, emotional, and understanding like there are just certain things that we don't understand why they happen. And honestly, I don't know if he really wants us to know why they happen. There's something else on the backside, to your point of preparation.
yeah, and trust, right? I mean, that it leads to, hey, trust me. Yeah, I was listening to a speaker that I love. His name's Joby Martin, and he uh, he was reading something, and he said God is good, and He's good at being God. And you know what? That hit me between the eyes, because the reality is I'm not. And so for me to relinquish control and to turn it over to Him requires trust.
Yeah.
And trust sometimes means taking a step where you can't clear. All you can do is see the next step in front of you. You don't know where it's leading, but He does.
Yep.
And when we rely on Him, that glorifies Him. And so, yeah, when I read that passage, it was like getting hit from a million different angles all at the same time, right? There's so many levels to that.
Yeah. No,
Well,
absolutely.
it reminded me of something that I had heard over the last couple of weeks from a pastor named Mike Bro, and I love Mike Bro. I think for people who consider themselves believers and are wanting to grow in their faith, it's important. I think oftentimes we get in the habit of going to our local church, which is awesome. I highly recommend being a part of a local church. Um, but I also think it's important that we expose ourselves to a lot of different people that speak on faith and belief, and I think it makes us better. And so Mike Bro is one of the people that I follow, and my life has taken a lot of twists and turns, as you guys know, and so has Mike Bro's, right? And he said something which was, "I can't, He can, so I'm going to let Him." And as I was reading this, it reminded me of that just simple little saying, "I can't, He can, so I'm going to let Him."
Yeah.
I defeating my enemies on my own, I can't. He can, so I'm going to let Him. Trusting Him to get through the tough parts of life, I can't. He can, so I'm going to let Him.
Yeah.
Understanding where He's leading me, I can't. He does, so I'm going to let Him.
Yeah.
And then it just reminds me of my natural tendency to control things. I want to control things. And as a believer myself, I would love to tell you that I have reached a point in life. I thought at 50 years old I'd be a lot further along than I am. I'm not, and that's okay. But there are things that I find incredibly easy to trust God in. There are things that I find incredibly easy to turn over to God. But there are things that I like to hold on to, where it's, hey, God, I'm going to give you all this other stuff, but I'm going to hold on to this right here because I think I can do a better job. Or maybe you don't understand everything that's happened. Like how egocentric and just say to myself, I'm a dummy. This is he's the
Think
creator of
of it.
all things in the universe. He made me, but like I'm better at something than he is. No,
Yeah.
but my
Yeah.
actions say otherwise. So as I read this, it's hey, I've got a purpose in everything that I'm doing. I need you to trust me. I need you to turn this over because on your own you can't. But guess what? I can.
Yeah.
So why don't you let me?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a perfect little segue into like it's almost like a bolt on to the what I shared with the group, right? It's like
Yeah.
I can't, but he can. Like I love it.
Well, I look back on any major, like I'm talking about monumental life-changing improvements in my life. And they were all preceded by massive discomfort, massive fear, massive doubt. And we live in a world, this is so by God, right? In the world, we're told never surrender, never retreat, never surrender. And I get that. And to a certain extent, it's true in this world. But God, he's so much different. Like his ways are not our ways. And one of the realizations that I came to that there are certain things in my life that I've tried to control that I have failed to control, and it's become a disaster, almost unmanageable. And and I and it was only when I did surrender that I experienced victory. So in this world, to experience victory, we don't surrender. But with God, to achieve victory or to experience victory, because we achieve nothing,
Yeah.
but to experience victory, we must surrender. And they are the antithesis of each other. But God is and there's the world and then there's God,
Yeah.
right? And so if that to anybody out there listening, if that made sense, I'm grateful. To the others where it didn't make sense, I understand. Uh, because there are things that are only now starting to make sense. And um, to think that I will fully understand God, that's a bit presumptuous on my part. But I
Sure.
know this. I'm grateful for that text. I'm grateful for the fact that you know you could have just sent a motivational text, right? And I love those. Those are awesome. But that was exactly what I needed to hear, exactly when I needed to hear it. And then I think that speaks volumes about I think God is intimately involved with
Yeah.
what's
So
going on in life.
I first shared it with Tiffany, and then I shared it with our accountability group. Like we got we got 4 guys in that group that if it isn't by 4:30 in the morning, it's definitely by 6 o'clock in the morning. Somebody
Yeah,
is saying something to somebody, right?
for
And
sure.
that group is I'm grateful for each and every person that's in that group, you
Yeah,
included, because yeah, it's an accountability, but it's also like it's less accountability. I say this, it's not. I'm gonna say it's less accountability because we are a very strong-willed group, and it's more about like encouragement and pushing people in the direction that we know that the group provides, right?
yeah,
Um, but hey, if we get a little sideways, somebody's going to call you out on it. If we get a little down on ourselves, somebody's going to call you out on it because there is that relationship that says stop being a baby, stop doing this and start doing this because that's who we are. And I am so grateful to be to have. There are a lot of people in the world that don't have a group like that make each other better every single day, no matter if it's a Monday morning or Father's Day like yesterday when we were all chatting, or a Friday afternoon when somebody's struggling with a work situation. So
For sure.
I'm super grateful for that.
So leaving it to the very end, let's end with the up. Let's bring it down with an up, right?
Yep.
I couldn't, reading that text and knowing the discussion that we would have, there wasn't one upism that I could tie to it, but there was a phrase that kept coming to my mind, which was look up and give it up. You know, and then the more that I thought on it, I was like, no, wait a minute. We look up, we lift it up, and then we give it up. So first,
Yeah.
look up to God. Look to God to help us through the things that we can't do ourselves. Next,
Yeah.
lift it up. Talk to Him. Talk to your Father. Pray, and then give it up. Give control over to Him, and and experience the victory through Him that can only come with surrender.
So what I'm hearing you say is this was a special episode because they got 3 upisms.
That's exactly right. It's a threefer. It's a threefer.
No, I would share the heck out of this episode then.
Well, man, I'm super grateful that you shared that text. I'm grateful for the conversation, and man, I can't wait to do it again. So for everybody that's out there, thank you for joining us. Remember, look up, lift it up, and then give it up, and then stop back and see us again. So until the next time here on the Room for Up podcast, we'll see you guys down the road.